In this video, I'll be sharing with you a tutorial on how to sew this baggy cargo Ankara trouser. If you haven't yet seen the drafting tutorial, please go down to our previous tutorial on the channel. So without much wasting time, let's dive right into today's video. So the first step we are going to start is joining our dress. So this is the front pattern and also this is the back pattern. So we are going to join this part, the crotch part, with 1/2 inch. And to do that, what I'm going to do is to go ahead to pin this with 1/2 inch, and I'll go ahead to stitch it down. So at the back also, I'm going to repeat the same process. I'm going to pin this down at the crotch area and join with 1/2 inch. After I'm done joining, this is what I have for both the front and the back. So the next step I'm going to do is to open the back pattern this way, then open up the front pattern and I'll place it on it. Now I'm joining the sides of my trouser, and to join that you have to pin the sides together, and you're going to stitch with 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to pin this all the way to the lower part of my trouser. Make sure that the upper part and the lower part is meeting. Now you're going to go ahead to stitch this with 1/2 inch on the sewing machine, and you're going to also repeat the same process at the other side of your trouser too. After I'm done pinning, we're going to fold the lower part, and to fold I'll start with 1/2 inch and then fold again with 1 inch. That is 1/2 and 1 inch. That is to take care of the 2 inches extra we added at the lower part of the trouser. Now I'm going to fold this and run a stitch on it. Repeat the same process on this side. Fold with 1/2 inch and fold it again with 1 inch. Now run a stitch on it. After I'm done stitching, this is the pocket of the dress we cut out in our previous tutorial. Now I'm going to turn this way and I'm going to stitch it down. I'm going to stitch with 1/2 inch all the way around, and after I'm done stitching, I'm going to fold this and I'll top stitch at the upper part of the pocket. Sorry, the upper part of the pocket cover. Now at the upper part of this part of the pocket, I'm going to fold it in and I will iron it with 1/2 inch, and then at the upper part I'm going to go ahead to fold and top stitch it this way. I'll run a stitch on this and I'll iron out the rest. So I've gone ahead to do that. Now it's time to place the trouser pocket on it. So I'll measure about 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and if you notice, I folded and ironed my trouser pocket out and also folded the upper part and top stitched. Now I'm going to pin this and also pin at the other side. So from the original trouser, we don't have a pocket here, but I'm adding a pocket to my own trouser, or to my own cargo or baggy pant. Now I'm just going to go ahead to pin this down and we're going to run a stitch on it. While pinning down, you want to make sure it's on a straight line, and I'll run a stitch, top stitch on it, and also repeat this on the other side. Now I've gone ahead to sew the pocket at the back. Now we are going to attach the pocket at the side. So also I went ahead to fold the upper part and iron out the sides. So from here I will measure about 12.5 inches. That is where I'll start placing my pocket. So go ahead to measure yours. You can just measure something that is almost or close to the knee point, because that is what we have there on the thumbnail. Now I'll go ahead to pin this down. After I'm done pinning down, I'm just going to go ahead to also remeasure what I have here to make sure that I'm in order. Now I'm going to leave about 1/2 inch, then I'm going to place my pocket on it. Another thing you need to consider is make sure that your pocket is equal on both sides. That is, you're going to find the middle and make sure that half of the pocket is facing the front and half of the pocket is facing the back. Now I'm just going to go ahead to secure it with my pin, and make sure that when you're pinning this, you don't pin the other side, that is another side of the trouser, because you're going to open up your trouser and you're going to top stitch it on the sewing machine. So I'm just going to go ahead to pin this now and pin the upper part. So after I'm done pinning this, I'm going to introduce this pocket cover and I'll pin it like 1/2 inch after the cup. Now I'm going to run a top stitch on it. That is a top stitch on top of the pocket cover. That is how to attach it. There's no much trick to that. So after this, I'll repeat this at the other side also of my trouser, and we are now going to go ahead also to attach the band of the trouser. So this is my trouser now, and I'm done attaching the pockets on both sides of my trouser, as you can see. So now I'm going to go ahead to turn this to the wrong side of my trouser. Now I'm trying to shape my trouser, and the only measurement you just need here is just to shape it out with 1/2 inch. So you can also go in by 1 inch if you like. So first you have to go ahead to pin your trouser and make sure that the crotch area is matching, and then you stitch it down with 1/2 inch to the end. After I'm done stitching, I went ahead to iron out my trouser, and this is what I have. So the next step now is to attach the band to the trouser. So before attaching the band, take a round measurement of the waistline you have here. So this waistline might be bigger than your normal waistline. So what I have is 47 inches, and I added extra 2 inches to it, making it 49. So the band I cut out 5 inches by 49 inches. So I'll go ahead and stitch out 1 inch at this part. So that extra 2 inches I added is 1 inch on both sides, which I'll go ahead to stitch or use it to join the band of the trouser. After stitching that, I'll fold my trouser and I'll iron the band out this way. So this is what my band looks like after I'm done ironing. So now you want to pick a point, which is the midpoint, and I'll mark. So that point is where my drawstring, or I'll pass the elastic from. So I'll go ahead to mark 1/2 inch, another 1/2 inch, and mark another 1/2 inch. Repeat that same process here. Mark 1/2 inch, mark about 1/2 inch 3 times. Why? Because the first half will be having an elastic, the second half will have the drawstring, and the third half will have another elastic. Now I'm going to mark this all the way around my trouser to the back part of the band, but at the center point of this band, I'm not going to stitch to that point. I'm going to leave it open because I'm going to open up that side. That is where I'll be passing my elastic through. So I'll go ahead to repeat the same process of marking this 1/2 inch, starting from the upper part to the end, to the lower part of the band. So after doing that, I will go ahead to stitch the band of the trouser. It is on this line that I'm marking now. I'm going to go ahead to follow it and run a straight line round the band of this trouser. So I went ahead to stitch the first and the second layer of the band, that is the first strip. So at the center, I'm going to open it up a bit. So before going ahead to run the third stitch, so this is where I'll be passing this drawstring, that is the second one. And what I will do is that I'll be putting an eyelet there. This is to have a neat finishing at the center of my trouser, and also so that when with time the drawstring will not tear or wear off that part of the Ankara that is open. So I'll just go ahead and open up one side, and I'll place and put my eyelet just like you're placing your eyelet for your corset. Now, the only difference is that I opened up each side separately. After putting eyelet at the front part, I'll put eyelet at the back of the band. So note, you're going to open the band. That is, on the front side of the band, you add eyelet. On the back side of the band, you're going to add an eyelet separately. That is, you're going to have an opening there because you're still going to pass your elastic. So if you use one eyelet to do that, it's going to close the space automatically, and you won't be able to pass any elastic or rope through it. So that is, you have Since our pattern, our band is on fold, you're going to open it up, and then it will enable you pass your elastic or drawstring through it. But if you use one eyelet to band it together, you won't be able to do that. So I'll go ahead to stitch the last part of my band. Now we're going to add an elastic. So for my elastic, I have about 25 inches. What I will do is I'm going to pass this through those space that I left, and at the end I'm going to tie it and pass it inside. So if you look at it, you notice at the center I did not stitch it. What I'll do is I'll pass the elastic to the upper part, and then I'll start passing it to the first elastic casing that we made at the upper part of the dress. So I'll continue passing my elastic till I get to the center. So from that center point, I'm going to pass it underneath it this way, and I'm going to go ahead to start tying it. I'm going to tie it so that I'm going to draw it back into the elastic casing that I have made already. So this is me tying it, and after I'm done tying it, I went ahead to tie it 3 times so that I'll make sure that I secure this and it's not going to shift or move. So this is me trying to draw the fabric. So after you're done tying it, go ahead to draw the fabric so that the elastic is going to force or push itself inside. The next one is to pass this drawstring that I have. So it has a thick head, so I can use it to serve as a guide while pushing it. But if the one you have, the head is a bit soft, you can pass your safety pin through it and then pass it round the waistline of the second band of the trouser. So after passing it, you're going to now bring it out from the middle part of that eyelet that you have, and then bring out the other side through the eyelet this way. So this is the part that will pass through the eyelet of this band that you're making. So after you're done doing this, the next step is to go ahead to pass the last elastic. So I'll just go ahead and also pass my safety pin through it, and I will pass it through the last elastic casing that we made. So at the center part, that part that we did not stitch, I'll pass it through it. I'll pass it through it this way, and I'll pass it all the way around. After passing it, I will now tie it just like we did for the first elastic. So after passing, this is what I have. I went ahead to tie it, and then I will drag it this way so that it's going to move inside. And after making this is what the elastic band looks like. Now the next step is to attach this to the waist, and we are done sewing. Now we are going to take this elastic, so we are going to take this and we are going to attach it to the waist of our pattern, sorry, to the waist of our trouser. Take the middle part, join it to the middle of the front, then while sewing, go ahead to drag it and attach with 1/2 inch all the way around, so it's actually going to fit. So after I'm done joining, this is what the trouser looks like. So if you have any question, please go ahead to leave it at the comment section, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button.